After we discussed the definition of money, three functions, and the evolution of its payment system, now let's talk about the measures of money supply. In other words, how could we know how much money is circulating in our economy? Okay. And this chart shows you the examples for the U.S. economy. Okay, and here on your left-hand side, we see M1. Okay, that's one of the measures of money supply, and you find that M1 here includes the currency, in other words, cash in our pocket, and traveler's checks. If you travel outside of the country, and sometimes you probably want to take traveler's checks instead of cash because it's safer. Okay, and it's also equivalent to cash, so it's pretty easy to use it to make a payment. And M1 also include the checkable deposit. That simply means the money you put into your checking account. Okay. And M2 here is broader because it covers everything in M1 plus your saving deposit, small time deposit, and money market funds and other deposits. Okay. We actually have another measure which is also commonly used. It's called M3 or MZM, so money of zero maturity. Okay. Again, you would find that these different measures they cover different financial assets, okay, or monetary assets. But what will be the difference between them, or how we could know, like for example, small time deposit should be included in M2, but not M1, all right? Now, first of all, as we just said, the M1 is the narrowest, okay? M3 is the broadest, so M2 stays in between, okay? The fundamental difference between these three measures or the assets they covered is the liquidity of assets, okay? Liquidity of monetary assets. Now, liquidity means what? It means how easily or readily a financial asset could be converted to cash or could be used to make a payment. Okay, as you can see here in M1, cash, traveler's checks, money in your checking account, it's ready to be spent, to be used. Okay, so for example, you can use your debit card, right? Shopping groceries. You can also use your, write a personal check. Okay, so the money would be taken out of your checking account, right? For these, like money in your saving account and for example, money market funds, you can still use it, okay, to make a payment, but you have to, move down the money out of these market or account and put into the checking account so that it can be eventually spent. Okay, so you may take a little bit time or effort to do that. All right, so that's why we said that M1 is actually the most liquid asset. Okay, and M2 includes some less, relatively speaking, less liquid asset. Okay, but they're still readily to be used or spent to make any payment. All right. So here, as you can see, these numbers are for the U.S. economy. In other words, it's not hypothetical numbers. Okay. Now, one interesting thing I would like you guys to think about is, so here you find it in M1, okay, and M2. Both covers currency and traveler's checks. Okay, actually, traveler's checks is a relatively small portion in this part because the vast majority is just cash. Okay, the green pieces of paper in our pocket. Now, the interesting thing here is you find this number is $769 billion. $769 billion, okay, circulating. Now, if we do a simple math, $769 billion divided by the US population, which is 328 million, so that we can find amount of money per person, okay, or amount of cash per person. It's going to be $2,345. Now, I want to ask you, do you have $2,345 in your pocket? Do you often carry that much money? Do you know anybody, your friends, family members, relatives, carrying that much money, walking around on a daily basis? I guess the answer is no, right? If for many of us, or probably most of us, that never happens, right? Or very rarely happens, then where did the money end up going, right? This much money. Now, you could say some people may, carry a lot of money, but again, here what we are calculating is a national average. Okay, in other words, we're saying a typical person would carry this much money. That's a huge number per person, right? So where did the money end up going? Think about this, okay? And I'm looking forward to your insight during our virtual meeting.